Thanks to that power of 9, which, and that symbol, I think we all either ought to have it tattooed or stickered, because the last visual on that screen that said, here's to the next 40 years, that really has to be what we all focus on. It is great that we're 40 years into Title IX impact, and we can look at statistics and know participation and even see where we are. The fact that we can all be administrators in this business, but I am more concerned and more worried about the next 40. You know, even back in the day, we always knew we were going to have to pull our own weight, okay? We were all funded begrudgingly in our women's programs at the collegiate level. You know, they had to do it. Title IX passed, and eventually somebody was going to pay attention to it, otherwise the OCR would be on your campus. Some campuses got right with the program, thank God. Ours was one of them. In 1973, they knew, time to form a women's athletics department, let's go. But even back then, our leaders like Don Lopiano and Jody Conrad were telling us, okay, it's great that the president's offices are stepping up, but we have got to figure out a way to monetize and to fund ourselves somewhat, offset what these costs are going to be to provide these great opportunities for young women. But when you look at it in a marketing sense today, I think what's beautiful is that what is not mainstream is now essential and mainstream. The digital space is now where we have to be. It's not where we've been. And in fact, I think we'll be continually frustrated in women's athletics in particular if we try to cram ourselves into the conventional way of exposure, either praying that those TV networks will give us more coverage, but thank God for the NCAA ESPN deal and what CBS has done in the past, and now what Turner is trying to do digitally. So those things are going to happen, but where we really have to concentrate is being the owners and the dictators of our own imagery and our own stories. Because guess what? We don't have to depend upon a press conference or a media group to come in and tell our story. We can do it ourselves. We all have content creators on our campuses, and I started out as an SID. I could not even be an SID today because of the technology that's required to do their jobs. We need to be in digital space, we need to be doing apps, we need to be doing our own web videos. All of this stuff, by the way, is less expensive than we were doing it back then. I mean, thank goodness we don't have to print media guides anymore. I mean, how much time, if you were ever in an SID office, did you spend burning your eyes out, right, on printed publications that were, outdated the minute you produced them? So it's really exciting now that we're in a digital age and that we all can control our own story. I do think this is how women's athletics is going to continue to seep by osmosis into the social mainstream.
Because we serve on a committee together that the NCAA conspired on our behalf to look at women's basketball from 35,000, 40,000 feet and say, what does women's basketball need to, here's the key word, become more relevant? And I think that we talked more in our competition committee, the first meeting, about relevance probably than anything else, because we were wondering how can we make women's basketball relevant on our campuses? How can the coach be relevant on the coaching staff? How can the senior woman administrator be relevant on the senior administrative staff? And don't underestimate the significance of being irrelevant, because those who are quiet may as well not be there. You are just asking to be irrelevant. And those that are boisterous and obsessive, maybe, or they deafen the whole room. And somewhere in the middle is that sweet spot, that was the word that I heard earlier today, that is appropriate relevance. Of this, had it not been for AIW, I'm not sure Title IX would have ever come to life when it did. And it was because women took their destiny and drove it and stopped waiting for someone else to do it for her. But there has to be a right way to do that, and there's some consensus building that's required. But more than anything, if we're going to be relevant, we have to be known, we have to be acknowledged, we have to have purpose. We have to have a vision that has to be understood, and then it has to be conveyed or communicated. And for us, in our lifetime, everyone in this room, the greatest vehicle that has opened our relevance is television. We're not going to get much ink in the written paper. And today, there are not many written papers anyway. So the relevance with television is indeed the digital media, and you can write your own relevance. And you can explain to your athletics department, your chancellor, your boosters, your alumni, your community, why it is important that you're here, that your teams are important, that those students are important, that their lives are important, and the contributions that they're going to make are going to be significant. But if you don't tell the story, it won't be told. And you've got an opportunity to tell it your way with your southern accent and your double name. You can do it.